There you go.
Hello, everybody. Welcome in. It's the Michigan football post-game live here on the Maize and Blue Review. And not a great day for Michigan as they get manhandled at the Big House, 31-12, the final by the Longhorns. Jim Scarcelli is with us. We're ready to go through this one. We'll look at your feedback and answer some of your questions, get your thoughts on this one. Scar, you're up to bat. Take a swing at what you saw out there on the turf with Texas coming in.
Texas is a really, really talented football team. They recruited really, really good players. They got Alabama-type talent out there. It would have taken a great effort. The kind of effort we needed today, Denny, was that 2021 Ohio State coming to Big House type effort with the real good quarterback, and we just didn't get it. They're well coached. This guy did some smart things. He exploited us on defense at times, and he ran the. Sark called a good game, but you ain't beating nobody with 4 turnovers, Denny. 4 turnovers, it ain't happening. But Denny, the Big Ten championship is out there. I'm gonna try to look at the positive side of things. Okay, the Big Ten championship is the #1 goal. It's still out there. The good thing about this game is we know where the hell we're at. We know what we got, what we got to improve on, and some of those turnovers were just dropped. You know, Danny, I got a lot of faith in our quarterback. I'm not going to beat this kid up, man. For his second start against Texas, he most of the balls he threw were catchable. The tip ball. I don't know, 3rd and 2, you're calling a pass over the middle. I didn't like that call. I thought we had a nice surface to run the football on there, the way they were lined up. How many balls did we tip? And we didn't get nothing. They tip the ball, they pick them off. But the Big Ten championship is out there. Our coach is going to get tested, Denny. I said it last year. I'm going to keep it real, man. You coach, you run out there on set, couple games and coach another guy's team, he's there all week, his coaches, his players. Well, now you're going to get tested. Now you're going to get tested as a head coach. And you get beat up at home like we did. The media is going to beat them up. You got to keep the players from pointing fingers. All that stuff is going to be happening. Okay. And this is where you're tested as a leader. And, we'll see how it plays out, man. But there's a lot to build on. I'm confident because it wasn't terrible. Couple breaks go our way. The turnover battles go our way. Couple stops on 3rd down. We're so close to getting some of those stops. But
I'm going to disagree with you there, Scar. I thought this was terrible. And it's great to talk about the Big Ten because they haven't played any games. But it sounds more like a pipe dream after watching today's game. There were a lot of things that you could say. You're talking about beating them up. They deserve to be beat up. They got beat in every phase of the game and from the top to the bottom. I'm really surprised that Sharon Moore didn't have his team ready to play in any phase of the game. But what was shocking is that the defense and Wink Martindale, until further notice, Wink looks like a complete failure. He got worked over and got his pants pulled down and spanked by Sark. I mean, he ran circles around that Michigan defense, unless they weren't trying, because I know that's the way it looked. But it's almost like the turnovers, you put them in there, and it's almost like an excuse, like you're not going to win games. It didn't matter if Michigan didn't turn the ball over at all. Michigan doesn't look like they have a quarterback. They don't look like they have an offensive line. And Sharon Moore, you give him a leash to say, okay, how's he going to run his program? How's he going to come in? He tiptoed into game week with, I don't know, we're going to be a little coy with the quarterback, and we don't know who's going to be our right tackle and center. And then they played the first half last week like it was an exhibition game, and then they came in today, and they were not ready on the national stage. There was zero sense of urgency from that team from anywhere out there on the field. And it's quite the fall off when you watch a team win a championship and then you watch a team come in. It looked like they had no answers for anything. But the biggest thing I come back to is the defense couldn't stop a cold today, and that was a shocker for me. And that has to go to Wink. It goes to Sharon Moore. He picked them, but it goes to Wink and his staff because those guys, they couldn't tackle. They had a poor game plan, whatever it was, blitzing. And Sark could have put up 50 on Wink if he wanted to.
I disagree with most of that. I said we needed to kind of perform. That team is on the caliber of the 2021 Ohio State team we beat to get our program rolling. They're on that kind of caliber defensively. Early draft pick at quarterback, which we faced we needed that kind of performance. Okay, and if you remember, we scored a lot more points in that game, and we didn't turn the ball over, but maybe one time. And they moved the ball on us. And we faced a really, really good quarterback today. The kid may have had one uncatchable ball. I don't know that he made any freaking mistakes. He started 24 games. I knew there would be some of a difference there. Listen, I'm not going to defend Wink on everything he did. There's a lot that they're going to look at. The big thing, one of the biggest problems I had with the defense, we don't play enough guys in the defensive line. I thought we got tired second and third drive. We're rotating the edge guys. We're rotating linebackers. We're rotating secondary, which you have to do when they put you're playing so much defense as you did. But the future isn't good if you don't start getting guys. I'm going to finish. I know I'm going long. I'm going to say one more thing to you. When I was a head coach, I was always thinking about game one the following year. Always thinking about it in practice and then in the game. What the hell does thinking about game? Well, this Texas game, when I'm looking at it, I'm saying, okay, how much did our centers play last year? How much did our guards play? Al-Hadi play last year? How much did some of these guys, our receivers dropped a lot of balls? How much did Davis Warren, how much did we have more opportunities to get him reps last year in some of the guys on defense? And those are, you say, why the hell does it matter? It matters big time in a game like this. Because now a lot of those mistakes, we're going to look at the film Monday, a lot of the mistakes, a lot of our young players made, some of that stuff is corrected if you get them reps the year before when you have the opportunity.
Well, the offense was terrible, but you half expected it with the players that they had to replace and the way that they came into the season. But, hitting Kirk Campbell or Davis Warren or a lack of creativity. And then, they didn't come out and the punter kicking 30-yarders right out of the gate. But the Texas made it look so easy right from the jump. You're talking about them getting tired. They took the ball and went right down the field on Michigan like it was the Michigan defense that had to replace 10 players. They got lucky that they had to attempt a field goal on that first drive because of the holding call, and they missed the field goal. But, man, right when they got it back again, right down the field again. And they hit him in the run game. I thought Jair Hill was a decent corner. He couldn't cover anything, and they were hitting him deep. They were hitting him on the seam. They were throwing screen passes, and then they were pushing him back. Michigan's vaunted defensive line, they were getting pushed into the backfield right off the bat. First drive, second drive, first quarter. I mean, this game was over by Texas's third possession, and everybody knew it. Michigan came out flat as a pancake, and Texas came out riding high. Man, like that was, and that goes back to the head coach. Unfortunately, what are we going to do? Just sit around and say, oh, hey, Sharon Moore, the way that he had his team going all the way through, this is the game you pointed to have him ready to go. So you say, hey, whatever you're going to do in that first game, you want to tiptoe around and play all these games and do all this and not have everything going, and then we'll see. This is when the first exam was, and they failed miserably. Now, there's a lot of people who talk about this team going 500 and 7-5, and I understand that by looking at them. But talking about the Big Ten, if Wink, I can't wait to see what Wink's game plan is against USC, because if USC comes out there and shreds this defense, I think you're going to have to put Wink out there and say, "Wow, this was a gigantic mistake. hiring Wink Martindale. Hey, this guy had a lot of personnel out there, and he put him out there, and he couldn't stop anything. He had no answers. He got worked over. I've never seen a coordinator with the talent that Michigan has get worked over like Wink Martindale did today.
Okay, well, it was a total team loss, Denny. Our special teams.
Yeah, it's a total team loss, but you expect a little bit of that from the offense. You got a walk-on quarterback who obviously, I don't know what to say, he looked scared, but he couldn't step into a throw. He looked like he was a kid that was playing out there and the game was too fast for him. Couldn't throw the ball with authority, off his back foot. The only time he really was able to do anything when he was running for his life, and then he had this like full jump stop over by the sideline, and then he would gun it back against the grain into like triple coverage into these tight windows. That's never going to work. It's never going to work. They don't have anything to work with offensively with the quarterback situation. And I don't know why they ever thought Orji was even Orji is a wildcat quarterback. And they, if you want to look to a point where they lost the game offensively, defensively, they lost it right off the bat because they couldn't stop anything. They were a screen door on a submarine the entire game. All of those guys, the press clippings, Mel Kiper, hey, you guys are all going in the first round of the draft. Those guys are all falling like a rock now after they watch this tape. But the offense, when they finally get down there and get a chance to do something, they bring Orji in on a 3rd and 3 and run him right up the middle. It's the most predictable call I've ever saw, Scar. And that doesn't give Warren a chance. It doesn't build anything that he has on confidence that if he is going to be able to do anything. And the rest of the offense is looking over there doing the same thing. Why are we running a guy and screwing around with the quarterback?
Yeah, Benny, the Orji package, I think they have to evaluate the formations and what gives the defense the biggest. Like when they did that first stop was we went empty. And when you go empty with Orji, they know it's quarterback run. They absolutely know it's quarterback run. When you put a running back next to him, I think it might be more of a problem to defend. But Texas did a pretty good job in defending that formation. And our coaches have to take a look at it and try to get an advantage. Denny, listen, I'm gonna say this. Early in the game, I was happy with a lot of the shifting because it was Michigan football. We got our team some advantages, at least with some of the shifting and motions and stuff. And Texas adjusted pretty good, and we moved the ball decently. But then we would just get stopped on 3rd down.
The flea flicker was nice. They hit Charleston on that second drive.
Yeah, I mean some of the play calling. If we had that whole the game in front of us and we're looking at it, I'm seeing some creativity. I'm seeing the same stuff we won with. We don't just have the biggest, best offensive linemen. I'm sorry. We don't, man. We've had good players. With good, good smart quarterback play, securing the ball, a lot of things, team offense, shifting motions, getting advantages for our team. And we didn't get it done today. But I'm not the end of the world like you here, and I'm not going to say that we made a mistake with Wink because I saw a lot of things out there. I saw a pretty damn good quarterback playing for Texas. That was no stiff. That kid started 24 games. He had him in the finals. He went on the road to beat Alabama last year. And they've surrounded that team with some damn good players. They're big, strong kids. It almost looks like we got out recruited a little bit too. When you look at the size of Texas in all 22 positions, it almost looks like they've done a number on us in recruiting too.
Well, Texas, they're backed by that oil money. They do great in recruiting. They do great in the transfer portal. Look, I don't want to, make it sound like I'm trying to react, not overreact. Like I don't think Sherrone Moore should be fired, and I don't think Wink Martindale should be shown the door after 2 games. But this is a referendum on these guys. How you're going to start? There's no shame in losing to Texas, like you say. Like Quinn Ewers, man, he was on the butt, man. He was spreading the ball around. He looked great. Sark's obviously knows how to, scheme up and get his guys open. But if we're going to be honest and say, okay, well, what did you think of Michigan? Well, they got a big F. They got an F across the board. There's nothing to build on here. And if Wink gets, smacked around like he did today, against USC, there's not going to be anybody that's going to be on his side. So, and Sharon Moore, you can go through all the stuff and do everything else and smash, but we're going to look and see how you have your team ready to play. And he didn't have his team ready to play, Scar. How do you excuse this team coming out and not being ready to go on offense? We get defense was a question mark. Or
when you say, Denny, when you say not ready to play, do you mean like effort?
Yeah, effort. Effort.
No. Effort
get off on the field. Got lucky on the first drive. Got manhandled. Pushed all around on the second.
That's different. Having a first round draft choice, throw the ball around with some good play calling and some good scheme that created problems for a defense. That's a little different than effort. I didn't see lack of effort by anybody out there today. They had good players, they got good coaches, and they did some good things. And then we didn't do a great job, on offense and defense.
When they were kicking ass and not taking names and getting pushed around like that, I'm sorry, Scar, that's the way it looked.
Well, you think I don't believe that's an effort thing. I think those
all right. Well, that's just not. You know what? They're not all that good. This advertisement, so they get exposed, and maybe it's the coordinator, maybe it's the coach, whatever his speech was or anything else. Why they came out flat, I don't know. They thought like we're the national champs and we've got a chip on our shoulder, but none of it worked. So whatever you want to say about them. All right, prop them up. Let's go. They'll be fine. We got the Big Ten to play for. I just didn't see any signs of any of that that you're talking about.
I do. I see. Let me just go a couple things. Ben Hall gets in there, did some decent things. Good to see. I'm going to look at a couple little positive things. Showed us that we might have a third back. Denny, let's not forget 1980. Johnny Wingler and the boys. They lost to Notre Dame and South Carolina. First 2 games of the year. They went on to win 10 straight, Big Ten championship, and won in the roll. Just want to point that out. Some other things. Wink. I thought he started out wanting the stuff to run, and we did a decent job early on making him one-dimensional. Then later in the game, we were not able to make him one-dimensional. I think a part of that was not playing enough guys. Ewers showed me, and God, the kid is just smart, stepping up in the pocket. How many times did we get pressure on that kid? And you think he's not an athletic kid, and he knows how to step up in the pocket. And then he throws an accurate pass. So we did apply him. We got him to move, Denny, but he's not a stiff. He's not a clown.
No, I don't think so. I wonder about, without knowing, like you're the guy that played, and it'll be interesting when you see the film, but it was almost like the geometry of the defense was off. Like Ewers would throw somewhere, and then I've got Page looking like he's totally out of position. I got, Jair Hill diving at somebody's feet, and then, just running through a seam with no help anywhere. It was like Sark had Michigan's plays, and that Michigan was in quicksand. I don't know. That's the way it looks. So that's sometimes you get, you run into a buzzsaw, but Michigan hasn't run into a buzzsaw in a long time. So as they were getting clean cut and blown away, it was hard to try to, pick up the pieces and sit here and tell everybody like, oh, there's some decent things. And you're talking about, Ben Hall had 1 carry, so maybe they got a third back. That doesn't make
I'm just going to go over a couple of things that are from a positive. He did actually play, and he made a guy miss. I'm just going to look at some small positive things. I looked at some busted assignments on defense. I counted 3 that were real big ones. But what else do I have here? Let's talk kicking game real quick, Denny. Our kickoff coverage was okay, and then we go offsides on the outside. I wanted to look at penalties, Denny. I told you penalties is one of the biggest indicator of a head coach. Penalties. Okay, we go offsides on the damn onside at the end of the game. Then we get a hold on our kick return. Our special team coach needs to get checked. Sharon needs to get him checked out because we had penalties on that phase of our game. Our punter didn't get it done. Our kicker can make a kick, though. And I talked about the orgy package, Danny. It has to be some of those formations. No, it's good. It has to be. You got to get formations, and you got to get an advantage in there. Texas had us figured out. We went empty. They knew exactly what the hell we got to do. But if you want to break down some of the position groups, I'm glad. I got some thoughts and notes on every position.
Well, let's do it. I do want to say my phone's lighting up. Jordan Love. Adam Schefter says, believed to have suffered a non-season ending MCL. So I just wanted to say that. Well, let's go. Let's go through you just went through the special teams, and I agree. Doman, who was so good last year, except the one game, I think it was against Penn State. I don't remember one of them. He had an off game, but coming out, you need your punter, and he didn't have it right out of the gate. The defense didn't have it right out of the gate. I don't know. Tell me some things that you saw on defense that you may have put down as a positive. I'll see if I can look through it.
I thought tackling in space. I thought the big thing to win this football game, Denny, and I didn't go over it. I'm going to do that in the future. The keys are always secure the football and then great red zone defense. Same game plan like we always had against the Buckeyes. And we did not secure the football. We did not have good red zone defense. This team had a good run game, but we tackled in space pretty decent at times. And then we had some misses out there. Sark comes out throwing first 5 plays of the game. He's throwing the football on us. Like, wow, he respects our defense. And I thought, okay, maybe they respect us. Wink is making them one-dimensional. But Denny, I'm going to just go through my notes here. I'm concerned that we don't sub our D-line enough. And I know, having been a guy that played, I never forget my first start against Miami, 90 degrees, long drives, you're sucking air, and you're not getting subbed out. It's not a good thing. And I saw Mason Graham and Kenny Grant. I thought they played tired. I don't know what the hell. They kept blowing up Eno Etta like he's this, that, or whatever. They got all this confidence in him, and they played him like one play in the game. So I don't know what the hell's going on there. They're putting 91 in there. That's Pierce, right?
Yes.
They played him a little bit, so I want to see more of that.
I'm sorry, 91's Brandt.
Brandt. Our edge guys, they were, not nearly as
I didn't see him. Derek Moore made a few plays in the
presence. The presence, it wasn't as loud as it was the week before. But I do like that they're rotating guys. We're getting guys developed there. But it was hard rushing on those offensive tackles. These guys were a whole lot different getting outside of them than the Fresno tackles. So our edge guys will look at it. They got to get better. The DT, Benny, another thing, Denny, Wink likes, I don't know if it was this team, but he's playing a hell of a lot of base, which means 3 defensive linemen. Okay. Minter was a hell of a lot more nickel against some of these same formations. So that means we got one less defensive lineman in the game in the nickel, extra secondary guy. So that's more reason to develop depth on the D line. So that's something that's obvious different, at least for this game.
Scott, why in the first series of the game do you have on a third down? You got one of the fastest wide receivers in the country bolting down the seam with in single coverage. I mean, was that a blown coverage?
Well, Denny, it's the same thing. Are you gonna? I see what Wink's trying to do. He's trying to mix up and create problems with protection. I see what he's doing. Okay, and then the same guy that yells when you allow a receiver to do that, you're going to yell when there's no pressure on the quarterback. And I'm going to yell
when the tight end is not being leveraged and, standing there in the back of the end zone, setting up a tent as, the quarterback rolls around and just throws it right to him. And, they make mincemeat of the defense that was being propped up and talked about that it could be better than last year's. When the Longhorns are taking you right down the field and they're just rolling you up. They're just rolling. And, they never could stop. Michigan's defense never gave the offense, which was never going to do anything, but they never even gave the offense a glimmer of hope. And then finally, when the offense did move down there, they got that Charleston play like they talked about on the flea flicker. They brought in Orgy, and that was the biggest play of the game. They just snuffed everything out. They had to score some points, and they snuffed that out and went with a field goal, thinking, oh, we're just going to get some points here. But in the grand scheme of things, that's why you don't blank around with a quarterback position. Everybody's over there looking like, oh, we're scrambling. The defense can't stop anybody. We've got to get a first down here. We're settling for a field goal. This team, they got shell-shocked. That's how it looked. The bomb went off, and then everybody was walking around there, including and most importantly, Sharon Moore, who stood over there and never had an answer or an adjustment for anything. And hey, if we're going to praise everybody and have a parade and put their hands up and talk about how great and well coached they are, when they come out and lay a stink bomb like they did today, they need to be called out and told that. These guys should be back in their dorm room with their heads down, because this one was a complete disaster on every level, Scar. I know you're saying you're looking for some bright spots in the third string running back out of carry and made somebody miss. That's nice against Arkansas State. But this is where you get a chance to evaluate yourself. Texas, they're playing for a national championship. What was Michigan? The idea was Michigan was going to compete in the Big Ten this year. Michigan does not look like a contender for anything, because they showed nothing to make you feel that way. Give me something to hang my hat on that besides there's 0-0 in the Big Ten, and they still got the Big Ten championship to play for. What's one thing? Because last game you said, Colston Loveland, man, that guy. Colston Loveland was part of the problem. He's over there, and you can't count on him. You couldn't count on the offensive line. You counted on nobody on offense, and you're supposed to be able to rely on the defense, and I didn't see anybody on the defense that you can rely on. You can rely on the place kicker. He's the one.
Yeah, you're pretty. He's a solid guy we can count on. And when you're making these points again, I'm thinking about what did we do to help for this big first game. I looked at number 20 out there on defense, Hill, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, well, here's my question. We knew he was good, but how much work did he get last year? Because he did some good things today, but he made some mistakes too. He made some mistakes, and I'm in my head, I'm thinking, how much did we get that kid ready? I look at number 10.
Well, I wonder why. So to that point, Sharon Moore, is playing this exhibition game last week against Fresno. He's swapping out the whole secondary in the second quarter. Maybe Hill could have used some of those extra reps. That's the problem.
Well, you can make. I get that.
When you get cute. Hey, if Moore would have come out there and had his team, and they looked like they were on point and played well and hung in there and lost, you say, all right, hey, Sharon looks like he knows what he's doing. All of these things that he did that don't look like what you have seen coaches do on down throughout the years. Hey, he's zagging when, this is a coach that is confident in what he's doing, and you're seeing it out on the field. But when you zag and it doesn't work, you don't look like you know what you're doing. That's what it looks like with Sharon Moore right now. This comes back to him. That's the first one. And it goes
no question there, Danny.
Sharon Moore 1, Wink number 2. That's what it goes to. If you want to go to the side of the ball, I'll go to the defense, because the defense you expected to be good. The offense you didn't expect a whole hell of a lot from. So Moore and Martindale, that combination right now not looking so hot for Michigan.
So in your eyes, the offensive coordinator's off the hook.
Well, no, because they played terrible too.
Okay, there you go.
They didn't have anything going there either.
Now we're talking. How about the special team coordinator?
Here's why I give him a little bit of a break. Here's why I give him a little bit of a break. Davis Warren is not a Division I starting quarterback. And you want to say he can develop over time. You want to give him a little bit of a break there. All right, I'll do a little bit of that. This offensive line is not winning anything. They push nobody around. They're giving nobody any time. They don't look like they're ready to go. There's a reason. Sometimes, you stay around, you get in there, you get your shot. But this is not a well-coordinated and offensive line that is ready for any kind of they're not a top 25 offensive line. So, not a good line. You don't have a quarterback. And so, yeah, I give a little bit of a break for Campbell for going vanilla. I don't know how much a break, he was involved in the whole orgy situation. Let's play him here. Let's play him there. Let's run him right up the middle on a third down. I guess that was his call. But yeah, I'll put him number 3, Scar.
Okay, there you go. Now we agree.
And Campbell.
Yeah,
then we'll go the entire defense, and then I'll go to the quarterback, and then I'll go to the offensive line.
Okay, Denny, I'm in agreement that it's a total wipeout and everybody's responsible. That I am in agreement with you on. I'm not. No one's off the hook if I'm coaching this team. So let me also say this: linebacker play. One thing about Michael Barrett, he used to be that Viper. He was damn good in coverage. We got 2 big, thick, run-stopping linebackers, and they're not the great. We had Barrett, which was really good in coverage, and I'm just seeing a little difference there. They just have to get better. We got to be smarter with that. So that's that. I think I'm done with the defense. Play more guys on defense is the big thing with me, especially up front.
My big thing is, why not do what you were doing last year with the defense? Because it seemed to be working pretty good. And I know you got to put your own stamp on everything, but damn it, he said it coming in like, I'm the one that invented this. I'm the OG, all that crap. And, this looked like somebody that had no idea, that the other coach was smiling because he's like, I know exactly what the hell Wink Martindale's going to do, and we're going to attack him. We're sitting on him.
Yeah, I don't think. Listen, when we look at what he did schematically, you're not going to see much of a change. The big difference is that wasn't frickin' Iowa out there. Some of those teams we hammered last year. That was a little different football team. Let's talk about some things, some other thoughts.
All right.
First play of the game, though. We go offsides. We go offsides the first time we get on the field. I think that was big hinting. So I wanted to talk about that. That was not a good thing. But as far as let's see what I got here. We talked about the deflected pass, the first play. I saw a lot of formations and stuff that we didn't show any of this for Fresno, but it was back to Michigan football early on. It gave us some advantages. But we get stuffed the first drive. Then we came out the second drive, and you got to throw the ball on first down every now and then. You can't. I don't care how young your quarterback is, and we did. And we made some plays early. Him throwing the ball on first down. We ran some different formations. We ran the power play out of split backs, the flea flicker, like you said, creative. We dropped a lot of balls, Danny. Our receivers dropped a lot of balls. Our tight end dropped the ball. Tight end catches a ball and fumbles it. Anyway, that's that. What else do I got?
What'd you put down about the quarterback, Scar? What'd you put down there?
Well, what I got on the quarterback was, listen, this kid did. If you asked me to watch Cade McNamara had 3 lamb chops to get ready. This kid, if I look at, again, we won with Cade McNamara. This kid, 4th and 4, he's running around. He makes a play, keeps the thing alive. 3rd down, he's running around, made a play. The deflected pass was, it didn't go, that was, I don't know, you're going to blame the quarterback for a deflected pass, but a lot of his balls were catchable. A lot of receivers didn't help him. But if you're asking me, is quarterback the number one problem on that football team? It is not, in my opinion. There's a hell of a lot more. Everybody is responsible. But this kid, we can win with this kid, in my opinion, because we won with Cade McNamara, and this kid is no different, in my opinion. But what else do I have here? The orgy package. Then we got to screw around. It takes too long to get the orgy package in. That's on the offensive coordinator. That's on something. We got to call timeout. That stuff has to be coordinated, and we got to figure out the right formations to run that stuff. I'm looking at the offensive line. Did we get movement at times? Yes. I thought we pass protect fairly decent. I mean, the kid wasn't running for his life. There's times he was able to step up and make some plays, but offensive line has to get better, but they sure as hell didn't get run over. Like running back play, Donovan did a few things. He showed some vision, I thought, early on, and then it's obvious they think that Mullings is probably Mullings got more reps and more looks and more touches. But our receivers drop balls, 0 drop balls, 8 drop balls, tight end play. I was glad to see us throw the ball to Klein one time. Both those guys did a decent job blocking, but
I wonder, to your point, when they had to call that timeout that you're talking about, there were more than one. It'd be interesting. That'd be something when you're at the game that you look at. But there were a couple of times Donovan Edwards is over there. They look panicked. They look panicked in the huddle. They had me panicking. It's like, oh my gosh, you guys. You get some of that because you got a first-time quarterback and the 10 new thing, and it's a game 2 and everything else, but not that much. Not so much where they're always waving and they're going to call timeouts. And it was not just once; it was multiple times where these guys, they're getting up there. All of a sudden, the clock's ticking down. You can't play like that. They can't.
That's coaching, Danny.
You're right. It is coaching.
That is 100% coaching. That's not on the kids at all.
That part right there.
Again, that's why I'm not letting anybody off the hook. If I'm the head coach, I'm not letting anybody off the hook. But I'm looking at Davis Warren had a 3rd and long where he rolled out, threw a nice pass to. Remember that one nice pass he threw to Loveland?
Yeah, I don't know. That was in triple coverage.
I get it, but my point is, when I looked at this team, I had serious doubts about quarterback, and I just think we can win with this kid, man. We're a long way. We've got Arkansas State coming in, and we'll get things cleaned up, get a win, and then we got to get ready for USC.
Okay, you want to take some?
Yeah, let's go, Danny. I know they're probably beating up Scar because I'm trying to stay positive.
Well, we got a Texas fan in there. Give us the thought on how good you think Texas is. You said you
Texas is. Listen, Texas. You can see they lost, and you could tell they lost their great running backs. Okay, they still blocked us, and they had average running backs in there, but they've got huge, good offensive linemen. They got one of the top quarterbacks in the country. They got tight ends that can block and catch. Their offense is really, really good. And Sark calls a hell of a game. He's a problem. Sark calls a good game. Their defense is big, strong, athletic, well coached. They got lined up against us. Their kicker, I don't know, but Texas could win it all, man. With that quarterback, they can win it all.
It up. When you're running an end around and a guy goes untouched for 55 yards like he did, and
Denny, I got that on my notes there too. This is the point I made about him being well coached. When he ran that play, who went in the game when he ran that play? 91 went in the game as an edge player. You know what coaches do? Smart coaches will do when you're putting those substitutes in, trying to get them work. Sometimes they'll throw at that guy, or they'll run a reverse at that guy. And I think they saw 91 in the game. The kid hasn't played. They ran the reverse at him. He should have been right there to make the play. I don't think that would have happened with Josiah Stewart or Moore was in the game.
All right, we'll take some of these. Let's just roll through them here. Can't excuse Sharon Moore. He organized this disaster. There's one from BK. Can't throw the ball. Even if you have to line up 7 offensive linemen, you have to be able to run the ball. We don't have a quarterback. Arkansas State won't be real. You know what that means? It's not a real.
We got to help our quarterback, man. We got to help. You got to help him with a run game, with formations. Receivers can't drop balls. You got to help him, man. And it was a whole overall not good enough presentation by the offense.
How about this one? The orgy, there was a lot of people during the game that I was monitoring on the Maize and Blue Review of the Den. They do a game thread, which is a wild roller coaster ride. You could expect what it was like during this game, but there were some folks in there saying, hey, you got to give orgy a series, if not a quarter. That's what happens when you start spotting a guy. But what about Tuttle? Because there was some thoughts that if the Tuttle was going to be the starter, if he didn't get hurt, and he's making his way back. Do you think that's on the table, or Jaden Davis?
let me give you my take on Tuttle. I'm going to give you my take on this whole program in terms of the decision with quarterback and Tuttle. Okay. In 2023, JJ was our unquestioned quarterback. He was our starter. Do you know who was our unquestioned backup? It was Tuttle. Tuttle was unquestioned, our unquestioned backup. Tuttle was. People need to understand that. He was clearly the backup quarterback. Okay, we go through the year. He gets banged up. Whatever. So there's a lot of things we don't know. So the coaches have to make a decision at the end of the season. The kid's got this problem. We don't know what the hell it is. Okay, do we go into the portal and be all done with the 7-year guy, or because I guarantee you a big factor in this decision was the doctors. Our coaches sat down with the doctors and talked about Tuttle, the guy who was our unquestioned backup last year, and said, "What's the story?" And I think they made that decision not go into the portal because they believed Tuttle was going to be fine. So now we go through spring ball without him, thinking he's going to be fine, and now he's out. So I just think I'm just guessing. No, I don't have anything confirmed. I don't know anybody. Just guessing. So that's where we are with why Davis Warren is now the starter, because I think they were clear that Tuttle was the backup last year. And what's this question here? Please tell me how you can defend lining up Graham on the edge. They did put him out there a little bit, and they blocked him. He has his strengths, he has his weaknesses, but they are mixing him up. They are mixing him up, trying to utilize his talents. But I think if we look at the film, you'll see that he was blocked. Again, the offensive line, Texas has got some good players, man. 6'7", 6'6", 325-pound, 4 or 5-star kids on that offensive line. So those aren't stiffs.
This is you answering the question. A lot of people wondering about why did Michigan hit the portal. The guy that went to Miami or McCord was already gone to Syracuse when Harbaugh and JJ were still technically thinking about coming back. They won the championship January 8th. They had the parade 5 days later on the 13th. Harbaugh didn't leave to the end of the month. And, Harbaugh was busy doing things and playing Ward on both sides and the Chargers and everything else. He wasn't thinking about the portal. But I think what you say is I think is correct. The portal had dried up. There might have been a couple players in there they might have wanted to give a shot to, but they thought Tuttle was going to be able to come back. And then he got hurt again. So there is that part.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's nothing we can do about it now, but I'm just trying to speculate. I don't know. What the hell? The kid was the backup. He was the unquestioned backup last year, and then he gets banged up. And then they don't bring anybody in, but he's still on the team, and he's going through spring ball and no guys. So anyway, listen, man, we got to just stay. They got to stay together and focused. And there's going to be a lot of again, man. Sharon Moore's tested now. You are tested now.
No, you're right about that. What about Darius?
Darius makes a point about some of the DTs twisting and some of the different stunts.
Yes.
Yeah, Wink. Let's Denny. I've had teams that I've had poor game plans against. It happens as a coach too, man. And Wink will look at it and let's evaluate the guy as we go through the year, man. Can he? Because it happens. Coaches have bad adjustments and bad game plans, just like players do. I've been that guy in both situations. So
you've answered this one already, but why don't you go ahead and answer it again? Don says Michigan should set their sights on next year. Too much to overcome this year. You already.
I mean, come on, man. We haven't played a Big Ten game again. Michigan. I get back to go research 1980 Michigan. They got beat up by Notre Dame, got beat by George Rogers in South Carolina, and then Johnny Wangler and Anthony Carter and Canavino and those guys, they won 11 straight. Okay, won a Big Ten championship. So and everybody was we're done. Schembechler's done, man. Get rid of him. Get rid of him. He's losing it after those two early losses. So just keep the faith, man. Let's
I would be more, even though things don't look very promising. In '98, after Michigan had won the national championship, they lost their first 2 games to Notre Dame and then to Donovan McNabb in Syracuse. But then they ripped off 10 in a row, 9 in a row. They ended up losing to Ohio State, but Tom Brady got him back and got him playing for a Big Ten championship. But that's not Tom Brady under center, so you do know that. How about Davis Warren throwing against his body and against the grain way too much? I think that's a fair observation. What do you think?
Denny, listen, man, no one yelled at Brett Favre when he used to do it and he was successful. When you start having problems, and obviously the kid and the coach obviously is allowing some of these things to happen if players do it. And they probably told the kid, look, it's not something you're supposed to do. Everybody talks about that, right? Even Todd Blackledge talks about that. You're not supposed to do it, but you see quarterbacks on Saturday and Sunday do it. So some coaches probably tell the kid, look, listen, there's things I wasn't supposed to do as a defensive player. And my coach said, look, this, or whatever, but there's times that you do it if you think you can make a play. Okay. And the coach and I told my players, look, I know, what you can't, you should and should not do. But if you think, and you really, Coach Moeller used to tell the linebackers all the time about going underneath on outside runs, anyway, but he told, look, if you can make the damn play, do it. It's something you're tactically not supposed to do. So maybe the coach allows it, but just make damn sure you don't get picked off. That might be how it's presented.
Yeah, I think that I had the best program director I ever had in radio said, I broke one of his rules one time and I came in. I said, yeah, but it worked really good. He said, you know what? Once in a while, you want to break some of my rules. That's okay. Don't break any of my laws. That would be the same thing. How about the play calling, Scarv? Now that you can go back and take a look at it, what would you have done differently? I think the offense, it was over for them in the second drive when they went down there and got some points and put Orgy in and snuffed that out. They had to score a touchdown there. I know it was very early and it was just the second series. And if it wasn't for that one, I would go to when Michigan got their just second series in the second quarter. Warren misses a big throw downfield, then he throws it to Loveland and he fumbles. Game was over right there. So I don't know what you would have, did they try to smash with Donovan Edwards right out of the gate and, see if their offensive line, where they stood against that defensive line, what would you have done differently?
Oh man, I give Texas credit for adjusting and understanding a lot of the things we wanted to do. But again, Michigan hasn't won 3 championships in a row, just knocking people off the ball, Danny. That's not how we won. And a lot of it is on coaching, fooling people, scheming people. We didn't see any quarterback run out of the RPO. I don't care how fast the kid is, Danny. He's not the fastest kid in the world, but if you run that play once or twice and let him run, I've seen teams with slow quarterbacks do that. You follow me what I'm talking about? How we used to run that with JJ? Some of those things, they give the defense has to honor it, even if you're only picking up 4 or 5 yards. So it's an overall play calling, players, quarterback, line, everybody not good enough. And give credit to Texas too, but I don't know that I have a simple answer for that question because it's everybody, man. And it isn't just play calling. You got to block guys. You can't fumble the damn ball when you do execute.
I think this one's spot on. The third down defense really let Michigan down. That you saw that on the first drive. Third down complete. Third down, picked it up. Yeah. Third down, picked it up.
You know what I saw though, Denny? It was interesting. I give Mason Graham, and maybe the coaches talked about it early on. Third down, some of those big plays. Ewers is stepping up in the pocket, and then later on, I saw Mason Graham bull rushing. We did a lot of Minter did and Elston bull rushing, and then come off and make a play on the quarterback stepping up. You remember seeing that?
Yeah.
Okay. So instead of was that a in-game adjustment that said, listen, we just want my one technique and my three technique to just rush the quarterback, bull rush, and be able to come off the thing. So,
all right, well, we can sit here all day answering these questions. Here's Vince wants to know how you can expect Michigan to beat USC, Oregon, or Ohio State.
I don't know that those teams are going to have better players than what we just faced today. Okay, Oregon's, but all of them have real good quarterbacks. All three of them teams have real good quarterbacks, great athletes. But I don't know that it's better. I mean, it's not like they have better quarterback, a talented football team. They're going to be pretty damn good, but we just got to get better, man.
Yeah, they got to get better everywhere, or they will lose to all of those teams.
Yeah, there's no question, Danny. But again, man, let's see what kind of leader our Sherrone Moore is. Let's see how he keep. This is when players start pointing fingers, man. Again, you got to make sure the assistant coach has got to really hold this team thing together, man.
Orgy and Edwards are spending too much time on the bench. This is from CN. He says they're the most explosive players on Michigan's offense.
The coaches think otherwise. Orgy is he's got to be a pass threat for him to get more playing time. I think that's probably, they just load up against the run when he's in the game.
I don't know how accurate this stat is, but BK says Kirk Campbell has thrown the ball with Warren 25 and 33 times. In JJ's 3 seasons at Michigan, he never threw the ball 25 times or more in back-to-back games.
Well, because our run game was kept them from having to do that, Denny. Yeah, that's you don't want to have to throw the ball so much. You like to be able to just hand the ball off and run your jet sweep and run some other stuff.
That's it. All right. Well, Scar, I don't know. Sometimes they say, take the tape and burn it. You'll be looking through the tape to see if you can find some things.
Oh, hell yeah. You're going to, this film, Denny, we're going to learn more from this film about the mental toughness, the physical toughness. They're going to learn everything. They're going to look at that film. There are going to be some hurt feelings in there, man. And if I'm the head coach, I'm ripping everybody. I'm coming after it. I'm ripping coaches. I'm ripping players. Ain't no one off limits. You got to come in there swinging, man. I've been that guy, and he will, because everybody has got to get better. We weren't good enough, but I ain't throwing the towel in, Denny. I've been around. We're gonna get it right.
I feel like that dude in Clockwork Orange that Stanley Kubrick had his eyes, that I'm gonna have to watch the film.
We're gonna learn from it, man. We're gonna learn from it. Be some hurt feelings, but it is what it is. We got to get better.
Well, how about we give some final thoughts? For me, when you have a 3-year run like this, and then you culminate it with winning a national championship, and we know that they transition. That head coach is the most important, and the putting together this staff, they had to do it relatively quickly, and they didn't have a quarterback, and they had 10 new guys on offense, but man, it was quite a fall off when you have a team coming in. It's too bad that you couldn't have had last year's team playing this year's schedule, and then vice versa, because I think Davis Warren could have gone out there and beat East Carolina and UNLV and BG and Rutgers in the start. Michigan really didn't play anybody until game 8 last year, but that was a product of an easy start. This year, that was never happening. They've got juggernauts all the way through, and they don't have experience anywhere on that offense. And the one guy that is their biggest playmaker, he let them down with that, fumble. If the game wasn't over at that point, it certainly felt like it was. So they got a lot of pieces to pick up. And the one part that you're right about, Scar, is that nobody believes in them now, and everybody's pointing fingers at him. Nobody thinks Sherrone Moore is doing a good job. Everybody's against Wink, and people think that this team's going to lose 4 or 5 games. So we demand in society and sports that you overreact. You overreact on everything. So there's going to be, as bad as you think it is, and I think it is, and Scar thinks it is, there's already people that are ready to take this up a couple notches because we are programmed to overreact. Try to just react to where it's at.
Well, Danny, Scar's not overreacting. You heard me.
You're not. No, you're
I'm
not.
not. You know, I've been in that building. I understand it as a player and coach, but we're just seeing how we respond. That's the key, man. Let's see how we respond next week. I want to see more D linemen playing. Okay, but anyway, I'm keeping the faith. I think we got quarterback play we can win with. Let's just keep getting better, and we've got 2 weeks before we play that first Big Ten game. And that's the number one goal. Let's put another ring on that finger. It can happen. Denny, I'm all good. Go blue.
That Big Ten opener is against USC. So, yeah, there you go. That's where we find out. Scar, great job. Professional job today. Enjoyed working with you.
Wisdom, baby. Keeping the faith. Go blue. I'm all blue, man. I ain't jumping ship.
There he is.
Hey, Monday we're breaking down the film. Monday, you and me breaking it down.
Can't wait. See you then.